Hey guys, on this video, I want to give you the real cost of getting a rental property ready to rent. And I'm going to show you the property, but then I'm going to break down the cost to actually get the property ready. Now, this property was empty for 4 months, and we finally got it ready to go. We finally vetted out all the tenants, the possible tenants, and we got a tenant who's ready to move in. But I want to show you the property first. All right, guys, so here we are with the property. Living room is ready to rock and roll. We got kitchen, we got fridge, we got stove, and it's a used stove, but in great condition. We got bedrooms, we have laundry area back here, we have kitchen, we have living room, we've got a couple of bathrooms here, guys. One bathroom here, got 3 bedrooms right in a row right there. 1, 2, and 3. And then we got another bathroom back here. So, pretty simple house, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, ready to rent. And we had to do a lot to get this property together. So I want to explain to you exactly what we did to actually get this property ready to rent. The actual real cost. We've got a tenant who's ready to move in. So I wanted to take some time out to explain to you guys the real cost. Because what happens a lot, guys, on these YouTube streets and Instagram streets and Twitter and X, whatever you want to call it, here's what happens. We get these landlords and these real estate people who get on here and give you the price and all this stuff and what they did, but they don't really give you the real cost. So I want to break down exactly what I did to this property and what it cost. And I've got my notes right here to help me out. So the first thing is this guys, supplies. What it took to actually get the property up and running. I mean, everything from light bulbs to 9-volt batteries for the smoke alarms, blinds, storm door for the front door, caulk, bathroom faucets, all that stuff. The supplies in total was about $525. That's what the supplies were. Now, the second thing is my handyman, right? I didn't do all the work myself. I have somebody who I've been working with for well over 20 years who did a lot of the work for me, the little small things that I needed done. Overall, he charged me about $450, which really, guys, is a steal. Because typically, that would be thousands of dollars worth of work that he did, but he only charged me $450 total for the 2 or 3 times that he actually came to the house and did some work for me. So if you're adding up, that's $525 for supplies and $450 for my handyman. Now, the third thing was my plumbing. Okay, so I had a plumbing issue with both toilets, and I'll get to the plumbing issue later because that's a really big issue. With the toilets, we only needed to change some things inside the tank, right? The floater, the flapper, and those things. And so both of those things was $150. But then we had to change out the spigots on my laundry, my hot and cold water laundry. We had to change out those spigots because they were old. So total overall for plumbing was $400. But later on, I'm going to get to something that happened with the plumbing that cost me a whole bunch of money. So $450 for now for plumbing. Now I had to get the property cleaned up. The tenant left and the tenant left some stuff. So I did 2 cleanings. I did an initial cleaning several months ago. I did an initial cleaning that cost me about $250 because there was some stuff that had to be hauled out of here. And then recently I did a rent ready cleaning, like at the last minute before the tenant moves in. The last thing I like to do is clean the house one more time. And that cost me $150. So overall, cleaning the property was $400. Now let's go ahead and get to the big one. The big one is what I like to call holding cost. And it's something that most people tend to leave out, right? But I had to pay for the 4 months that the property was empty. I had to pay mortgage every single month. I had to pay for utilities, electricity, gas, and water. And we were really through the winter months. So through the winter months, I like to make sure that I have the gas on so we get some heat coming in, just a very little bit of heat. And I like to have the water on so pipes don't freeze. I can leave a little drip or so every single night. So I had holding costs. But then let me go back to plumbing. I had an issue with my plumbing that caused the water to constantly run. So I had large water bills. I had $900 worth of water bills that had to be paid because I made a mistake and let the water run when I didn't know it was running. So my holding cost that included my water, my gas, my electric, and my mortgage was $2,900 over the course of 4 months. That's a big cost that most people kind of leave out. but it's important. Now, to clean the carpet, I do have a little bit of carpet in 3 or 4 rooms. To clean the carpet total in all 3 or 4 rooms cost me $250. And then I had to do interior paint. Interior paint cost me $915 total, which is really nice because my interior painter, I've been with him for about 20 years, maybe 15 years also. So he really gave me a good deal. On a regular basis, that might have costed a couple of $1,000s, but I only paid $915 total for the paint and for the labor. So that was pretty nice. Now, then I have to have my exterminator come in. Every time I have a tenant leave a property, I make sure I exterminate the house. Even if there's no signs of, roaches or anything like that, I still go ahead and have my exterminator exterminate the house. So I did that. That was $100. And then finally was yard work, right? Trim up the bushes, get up any branches, clean up the place, make it look nice and presentable. So my lawn or my yard guy, he came through and hooked that up for me. And that was a total of $200. So overall, if you add up all that cost, that's $6,140 total to have this house ready to go, right? A lot of these costs, guys, don't always get talked about, right? These are costs that kind of sneak in, and you always have something go wrong that you didn't anticipate going wrong, right? Something that you discover, like fixing those hot and cold water spigots from the laundry, right? I wasn't expecting that cost. The $900 bill from the water company because I had a leak in my toilets, that wasn't expected. So I say that to say this. Whenever you're doing maintenance and repairs on your property, especially a property where you have a tenant that moved out, always expect there to be a little bit extra or more to do in terms of stuff you have to pay for than what you expected, right? Leave yourself a little cushion, maybe some contingency. You may say, hey, that's going to cost $2,000. You need to be planning that it may cost $2,500 or $3,000, right? Just add that in because you just never know when a tenant leaves what they're going to do, what's going on with the property, etc. That's when you're managing your properties. That's the real cost of actually getting a rental property ready to rent. Oftentimes what happens, guys, is when you have an empty rental house and you're getting it ready to go and you're trying to get it ready to move in for a new tenant, you have to take your time, not only with the repairs, but you also have to take your time with who you're going to put in your property. Because the absolute most important thing you can do with a rental property as a landlord is make sure you have the right tenant. Screening tenants is very, very important, and you have to take your time to do that. Oftentimes with landlords, guys, they want to hurry up and put somebody in the property and not really vet that person and screen that person properly. And that happens quite a bit. And so you have these landlords that sort of rush to get a person into the property when you should be taking your time and just sort of relaxing before you actually get somebody out in the property. So look, guys, if you don't get the right tenant in your property, nothing else matters, right? We've got this house right here that we did a bunch of repairs to get it ready, right? Spent over $6,000 getting it ready. But it doesn't matter what type of floors and windows and sinks and light fixtures. All that stuff is great and fine and dandy, but if you don't get the right tenant in the property, none of that stuff matters. So like I have a used stove, right? One of the things I went out and bought was a used stove for a couple of $100. It's part of my supplies that I talked about. That used stove is something that I always do in terms of appliances. I like to get used appliances and that are in great shape, scratch and dent or used, either one, right? Either way, make sure they're in good shape. But I can do all that with the stuff that I put in the property. But if I don't put in the right tenant who takes care of the property, everything else is a moot point, right? So the repairs are great, and that's what we did to this property. We put some repairs in here. We got it ready to rock and roll. It took about 4 months because I was really making sure I get the right tenant, and it was also through the winter time, right? Sometimes through the winter time, it's a little bit tougher to rent properties out because not very many people are looking to move at November, December, around Christmas or just thereafter, right? A lot of people want to move, especially if they have children, they want to move right before the school year starts, right? So June, July, August are much better times typically to rent a property out. But this property happened to be empty during the winter months. So I had a lot of holding costs. I had a lot of cost in terms of utilities, right? Water, gas. Of course, I had that big issue with water as well. So all those things came into play. So I just wanted to give you what it really cost to put a property together. Now, it's over $6,000, guys. Here's the deal. If this property was my only property and it was only making me $200 a month, and for a course of a year, that's $2,400, well, I just spent over $6,000 getting it ready for the new tenant. So that's why if you only have one or two properties and you're not making very much money on the properties per month, like a $200 or $300, one big issue like this issue I had with this house being empty for 4 months, that can wipe out all of your profits for a year, right? So that's why when you buy a piece of rental property, you want to have good margins in the property, meaning that you don't want rents to be $1,500 and your overall payments monthly is $1,300, right? You want to have a big enough spread so you're making enough profit so that if you do have to pay $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 because the house is empty and you got to get it re-rented, you don't lose money for the year, right? Because you have a big enough spread or big enough profit margin where you're making plenty of money every single month. So I just wanted to point that out to you guys. I hope you got something of value out of this video. If you did, smash that like button. Please share the video, the link to the video, and also drop me a comment. Let me know, are you a landlord? And what do you think about the real cost to get a property ready to be re-rented? Let me know in the comments below. Hey, the best person who's going to take care of the old you is the young you. Guys, take care of yourself and take care of other people. Until the next video, peace.